Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to Start the Week with Spencer. This is our weekly webinar here at Doman International, where parents join from around the world, and they come with their questions about their children with special needs. And we really urge parents to, come to these sessions with their most important and sometimes toughest questions that they can't get answered by other professionals or doctors in the field. And so welcome to all of you, whether you're joining me right now on Facebook or on YouTube or here in the webinar. You can type your questions into the comments box and we will get to them in order. Unfortunately, we weren't able to go live on Instagram today because of some technical issues, but we should be back on Instagram next week. All right. Colleen, before we jump into Victory Day, just for anyone who's new, is the one day each month where we report on the results of children who have come to the Doman International Clinic this week, or rather this month. But Colleen, any special announcements before we jump into Victory Day?
Well, we are having on Wednesday, we're doing our, what is it called? Our giving.
Oh, giving, no, it's not. I was thinking Giving Tuesday, but that comes later in the day,
Right.
later in the year. It's July bonus day.
That's it, July
July
bonus day. So we've been sending out messages about that. It's an opportunity to, donate to Doman International to help other families. All of our donations go to, very specific, areas where families need help. We have scholarships that we provide, different things like that. So that's one thing. That's Wednesday. And then the other announcement I guess I have is that we are now looking at appointments in Philadelphia for October, November, December.
Wow.
And so for anyone who's thinking about an appointment, not to worry, there's lots to do between now and then. So if you register for an appointment and it isn't until October or November, we will be working with you even beforehand so that you're really prepared and you can even start things in advance. But definitely, if you've been considering it, please don't wait because we are going to fill up and we'll have waiting lists.
And if you're interested in where the other Doman International appointments are around the world, of course, you can always reach out to us. But just to run through our upcoming trips, we're going to Italy. We're starting to see families in Italy, our European center, next week, but we're also going back to Italy in October. So for families in Europe and the Middle East, that's a great option. In August, we are doing appointments in Australia and New Zealand. In September, we're doing appointments in Florida, in Miami, and also in Serbia and Croatia. And then in November, we're doing appointments in India, and we've added appointments in Dubai, and December, California. So that's some of our upcoming trips. All right, so let's get into Victory Day. So I'm going to share my presentation on the screen. Give me one moment to do that. Colleen, as usual, I'll need you to confirm if you can see this. All right, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see the screen. Perfect. And it's advancing, so you're good.
Good, excellent. All right, so now I just want to make a quick reminder, the children that we present on Victory Day are not specially selected children by our staff. These are families who agreed to have their children presented during the presentation. And so I say that because I never want people to think we're cherry picking children's stories. If every family said yes, we would present on every child. That's how we do things. So let's start first with Edai, who is 6 years old and has a diagnosis of developmental delay and also autism spectrum disorder. And if we look at Edai overall, he's progressing beautifully across various areas of his development. He now walks up and down stairs with improved balance. And he also enjoys active play. Like he loves doing things like forward rolls and flips underwater when he's swimming, right? And that shows an improvement in coordination and balance. Very common with the Doman Method physical programs. Mom has also noticed that his comprehension is growing. He's following simple instructions now. He's also helping out, which is a big deal for Edai, like helping with cooking. He's also responding meaningfully to conversations around him. He's kind of listening in and responding accordingly. In terms of speech, which obviously is a huge concern for parents of children with an autism diagnosis or developmental delay, his speech has really expanded to include useful phrases like "I want something" or "Let's go out," and he's speaking in couplets. These are two word pairs together. Very, very important, right? The ability to start putting words together to express what you want and need. When I saw Edai, I think maybe a year ago for the first time, he was not able to do that. He's now showing signs of having a sense of humor and having social understanding. And his mother is confident now in his reading skills that he's learning to read. I have to say, having a sense of humor is a really important sign of comprehension and maturity. If anyone has ever had the experience of learning a foreign language, they often understand one of the most difficult things to understand in a foreign language is humor, jokes, because you need to have a complex understanding of how language can be used to understand jokes. So the fact he's showing signs of having a sense of humor means he's kind of breaking out of his shell. In terms of independence, Edai is now fully toilet trained and communicates his needs clearly. Keep in mind, he's 6 years old, so these are huge steps in the right direction. He expresses his kind of sensory preferences, so he shows what he's comfortable with, what he likes, what he doesn't like, and he enjoys being comfortable and free to move, especially in the warmer weather. He, of course, because of the Doman nutrition program, he has a very a diet which is perfectly suited to him and supplementation plan. He has a healthy appetite and he's trying new foods. A lot of parents with children with an autism diagnosis will come to Doman International saying, my child only eats 3 foods or something like that. My child refuses to try anything new. So Edai is breaking out of that mold. He's willing to try new things. His digestion has improved. That's a really important sign of improved gut health. And we know that the gut and brain are incredibly interconnected. And he has good energy, behavior, and overall well-being. Here, a video of Edai enjoying some food from his in his diet, and you can see he's feeding himself, which is great. So a lot of improved independence there. Mom also noted this period, he's developing emotional awareness. He's reacting to conversations with sensitivity and laughter, right? When properly suited. And his connections with others are deepening. Sometimes parents of children diagnosed with autism will even say things to us, which are quite sad and upsetting. Like, we don't feel like we know him, because he's not really connected with the rest of us. Sometimes parents will say he's kind of going about his day, but we're not really sure what he's thinking, what he's understanding. And so I'm sure that him making these connections with others is both enriching for his life, but also very reassuring for his family.
Are you cooking your soup?
Here's Edai helping to cook.
Stir it, buddy. Stir it. Come on. Careful.
So you can see there that, as I said before, he likes cooking. He's probably already better at cooking than I am. And this shows, keep in mind, it not only shows improved independence, it shows maturity. He wants to help out, right? Many children, because of maybe challenges with understanding or coordination, may not have a desire to help. He does. And keep in mind, it also shows he understands rules of safety, right? If he didn't understand certain rules of safety, mom wouldn't let him near the oven, right? Or near the stove top, but mom does because she knows he's understanding more and more. So congratulations to Edai and to his whole family. All right, now we have Mariana, and Mariana is 10 years old and has been diagnosed with Down syndrome. Here you can see Mariana had her photo taken with 2 of our clinical staff. On the left, you see Jordan Ernest, who's a member of our mobility staff. And then on the right, you have my sister, Morgan Doman, who's a member of our cognitive team. And Mariana had this photo taken on her evaluation day at her last appointment in June at Doman International. Mariana's understanding, maturity, and independence now exceed expectations for her age, and her manual skills and mobility are nearly age appropriate, right? And those are, of course, big concerns for a lot of parents of children with Down syndrome and all developmental delays. Mariana is in excellent health. She's had no infections in this period. She hasn't needed a single antibiotic. She has something called the Immune Enhancement Protocol. This is a protocol that Doman International gives families with children with special needs. It's a supplement plan whenever parents might be worried the child might be coming down with an illness. So we have a specific supplement protocol, which is given to each child on the program. And so that's been very helpful for her to avoid illness. She has clearer speech. And, mother has noted improvements in facial tone and also comprehension, right? It's very common for children with Down syndrome to have hypotonia, like a lack of muscle tone. And often that's even visible around the face and the jaw. They may not have a clearly defined jawline. They'll have kind of a round face. And for Nita, there's just an obvious change in that.
Can you stand like this like me on this bit here?
So here's a video
Stand on this one.
that was taken during her evaluation with Jordan Ernest, as I said, one of our mobility staff members.
You're gonna put your face up here. Huh? Come and stand on me for me.
Mariana there was noticing Jordan's wedding ring and pointing it out.
Really good. Just your toes. Like so. Yeah, hold on to my shoulder. Hold on to my shoulder.
And here Jordan's just teaching her a simple technique, which is improving the muscle tone in her legs, will help her with her balance. But you can see, sometimes you can learn things just by kind of peering in on a moment. And you can see here that Mariana is very good with following instructions, being cooperative. She has matured a great deal while on the program. One of her major breakthroughs in this period, which you can imagine for a 10-year-old is huge, is her writing. She has started writing words independently in this last 6 months of the Doman Method. She now writes 16 to 17 words independently. She's spelling with confidence, which is huge for her. She also now understands addition and subtraction, right? She's forming longer sentences when she's speaking, and her speech is more clear. I noticed that at this visit, her speech is much clearer than it was before.
Okay, Mom.
Here we've got a video of her writing.
Good job. Luna. Good job. Nita.
Nita.
Please notice here, not just her spelling, but her confidence, right? When children become confident in something, they actually start to like it because it starts to become a part of their identity. I'm good at writing. This is so different from most children with special needs who start to kind of identify, they form an identity, almost a complex of I'm bad at everything. I'm not good at reading. I'm not good at math. I'm not good at writing. So I don't want to do any of those things. That's very different from a child who says, hey, I'm good at this, right? They're going to be much more motivated to keep working in the future. And you can see here, Nita almost has some swagger with her writing, right? She's like, yeah, I know how to spell this, no problem. And that goes a long way when it comes to learning. Physically, she's taller, she's stronger, she's more agile. She can swim on her own. She can hop, dance, and move with confidence. Here you can see Mom has joined the photo on the left side. And Nita is really, Nita is Mariana's nickname. Mariana is very, she's athletic. She's very physically active. And you can, for anyone who has seen many children with Down syndrome, very often, because of a lack of physical activity and because of their diet, they tend to be very lethargic, low energy, and they're very prone to being overweight or sometimes even obese. And you can see with Nita that is not an issue at all. So congratulations to Mariana and to her family. Well, last but not least, we have Nico. Nico's 12 years old. Please keep in mind, look at the ages of the children that we've been talking about in this session. 6 years, 10 years, 12 years old. These are not babies or young children. The average age of a family joining Doman International's program, the child is average 6 to 8 years. So it really shows that neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change, continues on later on into childhood, even into adulthood. And so children can make major gains even at an older age. So Nico has been diagnosed both with developmental delay and Down syndrome. Nico remains in excellent health. He's just had a brief illness in September of last year. So keep in mind, what is that? 9 months of no illness. Just to give you an idea, the average child in the United States, average kid, has 8 to 12 illnesses a year. So average child, it's very common for them to have one illness a month. And Nico's gone 9 months without any illness. His digestion is stable now with certain enzyme support that the Doman International nutrition team have given. He also has full bowel and bladder control. We spoke about an earlier child being toilet trained. Now Nico is as well, because very often when we can help gut function and improve brain function, the child now is able to control their bowel and bladder. His sleep quality is good, and his thyroid function is also well maintained. His recent blood work was normal, showing, statistically, his body is functioning well. He has a strong appetite. He's excellent with chewing and swallowing. His progress really continues on. Parents have really worked hard to reduce unhealthy foods in his diet. That has made a big difference for him. When we look at mobility and endurance, he shows great endurance. He walked recently on a family trip through Europe, and in the past, he may have needed a stroller, like to be pushed around because he didn't have the energy and the stamina to walk. No longer, right? Now, because he's healthy, he has a regular physical program, he's got great stamina. He participates in his school PE, in the physical education classes, in swimming. He does Taekwondo, right? So he is very, he's diverse in the activities that he engages in. With his visual treatments, right, a big part of the Doman method is improving vision. He's needed now updated glasses, but not because the prescription is getting stronger and stronger because his eyes are getting weaker and weaker. That's what happens with most people. With Nico, it's been the opposite. His vision is improving because his brain development is improving, right? As his visual cortex, the area of the brain responsible to vision, improves, his eyesight improves, and he needs less help with glasses. The complete opposite of what happens with 99% of anyone who wears glasses. He does wear glasses full time, but as I said, with less of a prescription, and he has better visual tracking. He's speaking much more now in Spanish and English with excellent volume and articulation. He can express his needs clearly. His next big goal is to, now that he speaks in sentences consistently, is to tell full stories. But he does show strong comprehension when he is being explained things. Here you have a video of Nico doing his Doman oxygenation program. This is a program which helps Nico greatly with many things. It improves his breathing. So it helps speech clarity, which is breathing is very important for being able to speak. It also helps him with things like physical endurance and stamina. We talked before, he walked on a recent vacation everywhere with his family, so he has stronger stamina. Very, very important. It helps with overall breathing. For many children with Down syndrome, they have severe breathing issues, sometimes leading to sleep apnea. This program can help improve breathing and reduce those things. Nico is now mostly independent with dressing, eating, showering, toileting, right? a lot of hygienic actions that need to be done every day. So again, at 12 years of age, he's really, really progressing. But keep in mind, there are many professionals who tell parents, after 6 years of age, that's it. Children can't really develop after that. And these kids are just proving that's ridiculous. Here we have a video of Nico with his improved vision. He can watch videos and enjoy them. Okay, so congratulations to Nico and to his family. So actually, by chance, all three children that we presented today saw us in California, all California families, but just by chance. And yeah, as I said, we don't cherry pick the children's stories. It's all about the families who agree for us to present their children's stories. And we really do appreciate all the families who allow us to do that, because it helps change I think it helps many other parents see what the potential and possibilities are in a world that often tells them that their child can't progress. Colleen, out of interest, any of the children that you saw, have you progressed? Have you known them since they started the program?
Yeah, at IE.
Yeah.
I've known at IE since he started. Yeah. So it's so exciting. I mean, I love Victory Week every month. But it's really cool to see a kid who, I remember talking to his mother for the first time about a year and a half ago now, I guess. And just to see the strides that he's made and to be able to communicate what he wants to say, when he wants to say it, to be able to do new things, like learning to cook and just, to be able to participate in his life fully. And I know they have a close-knit family. So for him to be able to connect with people now, it's so hard. I mean, everybody in the family loves a kid, but when they can't connect with them, the kid ends up sort of sitting in a corner at family gatherings, and it's or worse yet, parents will avoid going to family gatherings because they see that it breaks their heart, and they know the rest of the family feels very uncomfortable. They don't know what to do. So to have that open up for the child and the family, it's like this is just such a huge difference in everybody's lives.
It's interesting that you say that, because on Friday, I was speaking with a family who's been on the program, been on the Doman Method for some time. And this girl, I believe, is 16 years old, diagnosed with autism. And she's just made amazing gains. So for the first time in her life, she's speaking in full sentences. She's typing independently. So she can even type when no one's touching her. That helps her express her thoughts and feelings. She's matured a great deal. And I said to her mom, I said, and she's very independent now. She can take care of herself in the house. And I said, how does she do in social occasions? And mom said, we kind of avoid those things. We always have, because she didn't really know how to act in them, right? She couldn't talk to people. She couldn't really, she would, so she wasn't really ready for it. And I said to the mom, I think she's ready for that now. And the mom said, yeah, I think so too. So, so you're right. A lot of parents will avoid social things because they feel like either their child won't have a successful experience, right? Mm-hmm. Or that the other people in the environment won't know how to adapt to the child. And so I think getting the child to the point where the parent feels confident the child can be successful in social interactions, but also that others will be able to appreciate their child is really, really important.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so that's exciting.
Well, so if you're joining us right now, it doesn't matter whether you're joining us here in StreamYard or on YouTube or Facebook. I see we do have people watching on all platforms. Go ahead and start typing your questions into the comments box, and we'll get to them in order. If you're here in the StreamYard webinar and you'd like to join on video, I can invite you to come on screen and ask your questions. So I'm just adding that. But even if not, you can just type your questions into the comments box. Colleen, did we get any pre-submitted questions this week?
We did actually, just a couple of them. The first one is from, and forgive me, I have not looked to see whether this mother is on the program, like
Okay.
coming to see us. Her name is Tanya, and she actually wrote in Spanish. She said, "I've been doing the program for 3 years, and I feel stuck. My son is 11 years old. What can I do?" But we don't know anything. Let me look and see if I can find her. but
Got it.
that's, I mean, when you get stuck, it happens.
Yeah, and we don't have a first name for the child, I'm guessing.
No.
No. Okay. Well, I mean, it's, obviously, I've got only a little bit of information to work with here.
David. His name is David.
David.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm not sure who this family is, but I do, welcome them to reach out and send more information. Of course, we'll do our best to help you. When a family says we're feeling stuck, my first question is, okay, is this a matter of you feel stuck where the child isn't progressing enough, like the child is in a static place, or do you feel stuck in the sense that you don't know what to do next? And both of those things are important and serious. So let me take the second thing first, which is what happens if a family doesn't know what to do next with the program? And I'm assuming this mom has come to Doman International for an appointment.
No,
So
they took the course.
They took the course.
They took
Okay,
the
got
course
it.
in Spanish about 5 years ago.
Okay, got it. All right. So what are the things that you could do next? Well, first of all, I'll just start with kind of the obvious things first and then move down. So first thing you could do is come to our clinic for an appointment. Because it is true, if you took the course 5 years ago, that when you took the course, you were taking it for the child that you had 5 years ago, not for the child you have today. And so parents will often take the course, begin a program, have good success, and then over time, that program, the child basically outgrows the program. And in a way of looking at it, it's a good problem to have. And sometimes the best thing to do is come to our clinic, have our team evaluate your child, and then our team can customize a new program for you. So the first thing I would say for Tanya is to consider that. Tanya, if you're not sure who to contact in Doman International, it's best for you to reach out to Colleen at info@domaninternational.org, because Colleen would either help connect you with your staff coach from the course, or Colleen could just help you progress to schedule an appointment with us. So that would be my advice. Reach out, talk to Colleen. Colleen can help guide you with the next steps. Now, for a child who let me now talk about if a child isn't progressing on the program. If a child isn't progressing, it means, and this probably is kind of obvious, it means the program that the child is doing is not suited for them. My guess by what Tanya is saying, probably her child had gains for some time and now they're feeling stuck. And, again, I would say, best thing to do is schedule an appointment. And even if you can't do the appointment, there are other things that you could do. You could look back at, the Doman Method from Special Needs to Wellness, our book. You could get the book From Immobility to Walking. We give a lot of information in these books. And if you read it maybe in a new frame of time for your child, you might see certain programs that your child wasn't ready for back then, but is ready for now. Okay. But yeah, Tanya, I think the best thing to do is reach out and set up a call. Colleen, anything you want to add to that?
No, I think, of course, if an appointment is a possibility, that's always a good place to start. For someone who's taken the course 5 years ago, yeah, there are other books, potentially even some advanced lectures and things that we could help her with.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and getting in touch with me. In this case, since I do have Tanya's email address, and I found her phone number, I'm forwarding those to Marialba. So for people watching who may not know this, you know that we are international, but you may not know that we have representatives in different places in the world. So if you have relatives or friends who might, need our information, we have representatives who speak Spanish, who speak Russian, Serbian, Croatian, Italian, even Hindi, although our books are not translated into Hindi. So they're a valuable resource. So if you know anybody who speaks any of those languages and would feel comfortable speaking to one of our reps in those languages, just get in touch with me, and I can put you in touch with them.
Great. Do we have another question, Colleen?
So, yes. Okay, so recommendations to help with strength and movement for a child whose diagnosis is cerebral palsy.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Yeah.
So I'm going to assume by the way the question is framed and the diagnosis that this child does not walk yet, that this is a child who probably has very limited mobility. So in terms of improving strength and movement, there is a program. There are two programs that we begin with in the Doman Method with immobile children. The first is called patterning, which is a program where parents do specific movements with the child's body to teach the child's brain how it feels to properly move. Patterning is one of the Doman Method's oldest programs. It goes back 70 years. It's been done literally on tens of thousands of children. And it is very important to teach the brain how it feels to move correctly. It's very important for the brain to understand how to move in a cross pattern. When I say cross pattern, I mean, when we walk, for example, we will step forward with our left leg, and at the same time, our right arm, this is why it's called a cross pattern, moves forward at the same time. So left leg and right arm move together, left arm and right leg move together. That's called a cross pattern. Everything humans do is in a cross pattern. We crawl on our bellies in that way. We creep on our hands and knees. We walk and run. And so the pattern is to teach the brain how it feels to move in this cross pattern. And that's really important for helping those two sides of the brain to communicate better with one another. So we do something called patterning. We also do something called the inclined floor. The inclined floor is a technique, or rather a piece of an equipment that we use with immobile children to help them learn how to crawl. What we do is, imagine for a second, if we took a child and you put them down on the floor on their belly. If that child has a brain injury, diagnosed with cerebral palsy, they might move their arms and legs on the floor, but they can't coordinate those movements to move forward. And that's because that child is dealing with gravity, which is pushing their body down into the earth. And so what we do is we take the enemy of gravity, which is pushing the child down, we make it into a friend. So we put them on a floor which is inclined, and the child now can go and crawl down, right? Each movement they make allows them to move forward on the inclined floor. So those are the first two activities, patterning and the inclined floor, that I would recommend for this family. Now, these programs are explained in a couple of our books. The first book is called The Doman Method from Special Needs to Wellness. I mentioned that before. I'm just looking to see if I have a copy of this book nearby. I know I do, but I don't see it. So yeah, one is called The Doman Method from Special Needs to Wellness. You can kind of see it over my shoulder here. And then the other one is a book written by my dad, Douglas, which is called From Immobility to Walking. From Immobility to Walking. And you can find both of those on Amazon. If you search Douglas Doman on Amazon, you'll find both books. If you're not sure what the books' names are, feel free to comment them and I'll type them in the comments box. Yeah, if you ask Colleen, she can also give that information to you.
So I haven't. Okay.
Sorry, I'll add one more thing. Those are just the first two things that we would start with this child. There are many other things we do in addition, for example, to help them use their hands better, build strength in their arms, teach them how to stand. But those two activities are the first things that we would start that would get the child to make those first steps, no pun intended, toward walking.
Great. So I actually have, this is a question from a different parent, but their child is also not walking. And this family did have a remote appointment with us in April. So the parent is asking, my child has epilepsy and global developmental delay. He'll be 2 in November. What age can I look forward to him starting walking?
And sorry, how old did you say the child is, Colleen?
He'll be 2 in November.
Got it.
He's not.
Yeah. So for me, there's some important pieces of information here that I don't have. For example, I don't know. Of course, if this child came for a remote appointment with Doman International, I can look this information up. But the first thing is where the child is currently in their mobility. Like, is this a child who can creep on their hands and knees or not, right? Because we've found that for children, they need to go through a natural progression to get to walking, where they crawl on their belly first, they creep on their hands and knees. They then do something called cruising, where they stand up holding furniture and they walk along the furniture, and then they make their first independent steps. And do you happen to know, Colleen, where this child is in their mobility right now?
I'm looking. I don't know. Yeah.
But listen, this is probably the most common question I get from parents, right? When will my child achieve this important milestone? Walking, speaking, whatever it might be. And unfortunately, I can't put a time frame on it for a multitude of reasons. But one of them is that, when I've made the mistake of making predictions in the past, children often prove me wrong and do better than what I expect. And so it's not really right, for various reasons, for me to put a time on anything, because it's often wrong. And it really depends on, I think, a couple of factors. One is the consistency that the program is done. Obviously, the more consistently we can do the Doman method, the more we can help advance the child toward walking. But also there are other factors, the child's health. Are they healthy? Can we improve the child's health with the nutrition program? Because a child who's ill, it's going to be harder to get them to advance in mobility. And then other factors, like the extent and severity of the brain injury. But what I would recommend to this family, they're on the Doman International program. A part of that is getting the help, right? You have the help of your staff coach and the mobility staff. And so if your child, it is perfectly fine for you to ask the mobility staff who have created the program for your child and are supporting you to, for example, review the program that you're doing and give you any feedback. Maybe it's time to update something in the mobility program, or maybe you have some questions about, are you doing something in the right way? They could probably review videos of your child doing the physical program and give you very valuable feedback. So when a family comes to Doman International for an appointment, very understandably, a lot of parents focus on the appointment itself. It is the most important part of the process. But then when you go home, you have the support of the team. That's a part of the appointment process. And so you have to make sure to get the most out of that by making sure you're asking the staff questions who know your child. And if you hit any obstacles along the way, bringing it up to the staff, because if they don't know you're hitting an obstacle, they can't help you with it. So yeah, some important things there to get the most out of your Doman Method program.
Makes sense. All right.
Were those all the questions, Colleen?
Those were all the questions that I had. Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect. All right. Well, listen, I will open it up now to any other questions. Whether you're joining us right now on Facebook, YouTube, or here in the webinar, go ahead and type your questions into the comments box. We, can definitely stay on for another question or two. I'll just repeat a few announcements we made earlier in the presentation. First of all, we went through something called Victory Day earlier in the presentation, where I talked about the wins of different children with special needs on the Doman Method program. If you didn't watch that, go back and give it a watch. I think you'll find it inspiring. And we also made announcements about upcoming appointments. Colleen said that if you're interested in coming to Philadelphia to our headquarters, we are now opening up appointments for the fall because we have a waiting list, which is being created by a lot of demand this year for appointments. So if you're interested in coming in the fall, please reach out to us. And I also made an announcement about all the different places around the world that we're coming in the upcoming 4 months. So if you're interested in coming to see us in our international locations, please let us know. Colleen, any announcements you want to add to what I said?
Just the Wednesday. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, the July bonus day.
That's it. July bonus day.
July bonus day. This Wednesday is basically one of the only 2 times of the year where we will ask for donations for Doman International. There's July bonus day, and then there's something called Giving Tuesday, which comes in November. And the reason why we ask for donations on those 2 days is Global Giving, which is an international nonprofit organization, helps match donations to Doman International on that day. Global Giving is a nonprofit that basically evaluates other nonprofits and determines whether they are worthy of your donations. So Global Giving evaluated Doman International, as it has hundreds and thousands of other nonprofits, and evaluated us as being a ethical, worthy nonprofit. Unfortunately, as many of you know, there are many nonprofits out there that are not ethical in the way they use money. And so Global Giving gave us their approval, and for that reason, they help with matching funds toward donations. So if you are willing and able to give a donation, it doesn't matter if it's $1 or $10,000. If you make a donation through Global Giving on Wednesday, your donation will be partially matched. As Colleen said, we use those donations for things like scholarships for families. Doman International gave over $100,000 in scholarships last year to families, and we also use it for research. So any help is greatly appreciated. If you're not sure how to donate, if you visit our Facebook or Instagram page on Wednesday, you will see you will see an announcement about it with links. All right. Oh, here's an interesting question. I'm not sure if I get this one a lot. Any recommendations on traveling to Philadelphia? I've been talking to my son about how cool airplanes are, that we will be flying soon on one, but I'm still nervous it may not go well. Great question. I don't think I've actually been asked this one before. So let's talk a little bit about trips with children with special needs and how to make the most out of them. So the first thing is something that you already mentioned, which is preparing the child for the trip. And that involves talking to them about it. And I would also say, if possible, showing them pictures with visual aids is also very helpful. For a family who's already started the Doman Method reading program, you'll know there's something called Doman Books, which is kind of like making a book at home for your child. It's like a social book where you tell a story to your kid about something that's going to happen, right? So I really recommend to parents to just write up a story for their child about what they're going to experience on the trip. We're going to go on an airplane, right? You're going to go on an airplane with mom and dad. We're going to have lunch at the airport. We're going to be flying to Philadelphia. And in Philadelphia, we'll see the Liberty Bell. We'll see the Doman team for evaluations. Telling a child these kind of things in advance, first of all, it'll make them excited for it, but it'll also prepare them for it mentally. And a child who's prepared is much more likely to be cooperative. In terms of traveling with a child, obviously it completely depends on the child. But I found that when parents really come prepared in terms of bringing enough food for their child and things to entertain their children, just have much smoother trips. So I really recommend to parents to make sure when they get onto an airplane, bring books for your child, bring things. I I spoke to a mom recently who told me she always has kind of like a little surprise bag of things every trip with her child that her child hasn't seen before, like a new book, a toy, something like that. So the child knows, okay, when we get on the airplane, I'm going to get some surprises, and that's really helped things. Yeah, focusing on things like sleep, making sure your child's getting enough sleep leading up to the trip. Those are all important things. In terms, Colleen is probably a great person to talk to about Philadelphia per se. Yeah, Colleen, any thoughts on if a family's visiting Philadelphia, things they should visit when they're here, besides the Doman International Clinic?
Right. Yeah. With kids, our zoo is the oldest zoo in the country, and it's a really lovely zoo. It's not huge because it is, squeezed between the river and the train tracks, but it's got a lot of interesting wildlife, and it's a great place for kids to just have opportunity to run. I used to take my daughter because there are a lot of paths that are just very straight and you can see them. So if they want to run, you could say, okay, like run to, can run to that sign so that they can have a little bit of that kind of getting their energy out. Yeah, also the Academy of Natural Sciences, which is on our parkway in Philadelphia, that has a lot of stuffed animals, not toy stuffed animals, but it's an older natural history museum with dioramas of animals from different places. Some actually extinct. They predated the extinction, but that is often pretty quiet. So again, if you have a child who might be, may have sensory overload in bigger museums, like a lot of times families, obviously our families know what their kids can handle, but people say, oh, the Franklin Institute, which is the science museum, or oh, Please Touch, which is the children's museum. But those environments can be very chaotic because they're always full of people. So I find that the zoo during the week doesn't, school groups or camp groups sometimes in the morning, but the zoo in the afternoon during the week is very doable. And also the Academy of Natural Sciences tends to be quieter as well. So you can just kind of enjoy without having that hectic feeling.
Yeah. And, going back to the airplane, I saw a comment here from Ashley, which I thought was good, which there might be videos online that you can find for children about explaining travel in an airplane. That's probably a great idea. I have a nephew that, I was traveling with recently, and he loves airplanes. And so naturally, when we went to the airport, he was, he loved the flight because for him, just getting on an airplane is a privilege, and he knows every airplane model and so on. So I think the more you can teach a child about, what to expect is helpful. And I think also, a video about how to, a part of giving a social story to a child is you're telling them what to expect, but you're also telling them what is expected of them in this different environments, right? Like, for example, in the airplane, we're going to be with a lot of other people. So, it's important that we keep our voices low, right? Or if the child has sensory issues, we're going to put your headphones on in the airplane so that the loud noise isn't so loud. Just telling a child things like that can be really, really helpful.
We wear our seatbelts.
Wear our seatbelts. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because I'm sure that could be a challenge too if you've got sensory things going on.
Yeah. Great points. All right, Haley, if you have any other questions about the trip, let us know. But I think, and by the way, those are really points that I think could be helpful for any family going on any trip.
And yeah, a first time trip, I mean, obviously, Haley, because you're his mom, but it's not the time to stand on too much ceremony when it comes to what he's eating or whatever. Bring his very favorite snacks so that you just have them on hand. It was
Yeah.
like, oh, you want fine, whatever you want to eat, is fine, because I know that can be hard too.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. I think that's going to be it. Well, Colleen, any last announcements you'd like to make?
No, that's it.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for joining. It's been a great session. We'll be back here next week at the same time. We do this every week, and enjoy it greatly, and look forward to seeing you all next Monday. Bye-bye.